Hello everyone, I want to share with you some things that I think are probably big giant no's in interior design. If you're going to invest money in your home this year, let's not do these. I don't care what the trends are, these are not going to be trendy coming up and forward. Let's start with number one, space in your kitchen. Here is a kitchen where they've added an island, great. It's actually an L-shaped and then a circle at the end, which all of that I can kind of get behind. What I'm really going to recommend you not to do for safety reasons is add chairs. You can see how the chairs are added around the island. They have no legs and they are actually on a metal piece that comes out, and I'm going to guess the chairs turn. So a couple of reasons why this is just not a great idea is, first of all, the step up that they've built is expensive. Second of all, the step up is dangerous for people who are a little bit older. It's not easy to get in and out of chairs that turn and try to sort of put your feet up. I understand what they're trying to do. Third of all, it just kind of looks more like an amusement park ride than it looks like a high-end kitchen. So although it may work for you, I wouldn't recommend everyone consider this. So this is, in my opinion, a no, don't invest in this in the future. Next. This is about updating your kitchen. And so some of the problems here are, of course, you have dark cabinets, you have a dark floor, and then you have kind of a medium gold countertop. Sure, everyone at some point did this in the, let's say, late 90s, 2000s. We were sort of in this. So today, if you want to update this, here are things you want to do and not to go back to. The detail of the blinds. So those are called balloon balances. And some of you may know these are not in style, and nor will they be in style. So do not invest in these. Second of all, do not do them in a dark color, and do not do them so they have a detail or a scallop at the top. These are all no-no-nos. Elements of interior design are coming back. Those are not one of them. And the other thing you want to really make sure that you do not do in the future is, you'll notice here that the microwave is really low in terms of height above the top of the stove. This is definitely a danger. Do not do this. You need to move your microwave higher, which means, yes, you are going to have to dismantle the cabinet above so you can get your microwave over the stove higher. Third of all, if you are buying new appliances, try not to buy a stove where all the gears are at the back. It's just dangerous if you think about it. You're reaching over hot elements to turn it on and off. Nowadays, you can buy ones that are backless and the gears are at the front. So these are things that are just basically about really health and safety is what you want to invest in the future. And last but not least, and I know we talked about this in the office among ourselves, all the designers here, and the idea of the shape of the island and sort of perimeter counter, I'm okay with, but not everyone's going to love. So again, think about that in the future when you're laying out. Is this the best layout for your kitchen? If it is, great, go for it. If there's another option like a freestanding island, that might be a better one because it gives you just more mobility in the kitchen. So not terrible, but some things not to do in the future. What can I say? Everyone has their own style, so this might be a style that you really love, but I gotta draw the line at the backsplash. I really do. Okay, it may not be your style, it's a little heavy, maybe, whatever, but if you're gonna take a style, I understand the idea of going all the way with it. This would just be one step too far, where you went off the cliff. So maybe we make the backsplash out of tile instead of out of what looks like upholstery with buttons in it. Just seems to me might be a little hard to clean. Just my observation. So I'm going to go with, this is a no. Do not do ever an upholstered backsplash where you might actually have a stove and be cooking. Not only is it not easy to clean, it's probably dangerous. Just going to go with that. At least in my experience, it's not something I would ever say, please do this. Ooh. So here's my thought about stone. Because we're a northern country and we tend to do a lot of work, even more north, there's a lot of stone because it's a great idea for outside. It deals with the elements a lot better than any of the man-made product, although some of the stone is also man-made. But nevertheless, it still uses material that does pretty well with the element. Where we get into trouble is when we're bringing that stone on the inside. This one is not a terrible option, but here's where you're going to run into trouble is if you're trying to do something like this, the way the shelves are installed, because they're glass shelves, means that it's really hard to do because you've got to add basically brackets that project beyond the stone and sort of fit in there. The other thing is opening those doors with the stone on the edge. I just know we even have this problem with wood edges or wood corners, that sometimes those doors open and they can actually hit that stone. So again, it wouldn't be a total fail, but it's something that really just makes your life super hard in terms of install. So if you're a contractor and you see this on the plan, you know what I'm saying. Wow, this is hard. If you're a homeowner and you really love the look, that's fine. Maybe don't do the glass shelves with it. It just seems a little out of whack with the sort of overall look. My observation, because why have it? This seems like a really, really not well thought out idea. So let's talk about what we're not going to ever do if we own a home or a space, or you're decorating or doing any design work and you're desperate to have basically a counter where people can sit at the island. So number one is we have two different heights of upper cabinets that are open to both sides. So first of all, if you're going to do an open cabinets and they're on the middle of a column, which yes, we'll talk about, make them the same level so that at least it looks like the thought was complete. That's number one. Number two, having open cabinets at a seating area, in my experience, is dangerous, because all it takes is someone to get up, like I'm getting up here, and they move forward and they don't realize that cabinet is right there and they hit their head. No joke, this happens. So that's why we don't do that anymore. I've been around long enough to say to you, experience is expensive. And once you experience it once and it doesn't go well, you realize don't do that. Next, maybe having a post right in the middle of your peninsula isn't really going to work for you to have basically seating there, in that the architecture of the space prevents you from doing what you want to do. I realize that the people here forced it to happen, but it really does make two solo experiences. And I guess my point of having an island or a peninsula or a place where you can eat at a counter is so that you're eating with someone else. So I'm feeling if you're trying to have a shared experience, this might not be a great idea. And perhaps the most egregious is the idea that they put a console table in front of the post and decorated it to, I don't know, make the post look like it works. I understand what you're thinking, but sometimes it's not a good investment. I'm not talking about aesthetics. I'm talking purely about the fact that other people may come in and think, you know, this is not a house I want to buy because this is just weird. So we need to think about things like this in the future when we're doing design work. So maybe these guys, it made it work for them. No problem. I'm going to recommend you not try to make this work for your own home in the future. Okay, so have a look at this picture, and upon first look, you think, hey, this is kind of great. That's how I felt about it. I looked at it and I sort of said, wow, okay, I love the arched doorway where you're going to another space, very current right now. I love the arched window, love the mirror of that relationship. Here is where, when you're doing design, it goes one step too far. And I want you to really think about this, where whether or not you just took an idea beyond where it should have gone when you're thinking of your own home. Why I put this in here to have a look at is you'll notice that the island at the cooking area is round. Then we have the seating island is also round. Too much round. Think about arches or curved surfaces. A little bit is like adding hot sauce to your meal. A little bit is great. Putting in too much just ruins the flavor. So this is a good example where too much round just ruins the overall design aesthetic here. We could have had square rectangular islands and still benefited from the other round items in here, like the round on the chandelier, the round in the arch, the round in the doorway. That would have been enough, and we could have got by with it. So keep that in mind when you're designing for your own home. Just a little bit of spice spices it up. Too much ruins the dish. I hope that this is helpful and gives you a little bit of insight on what to look for when you're doing your own home and planning your own design, because these are all really important things, not just for your aesthetic enjoyment of the space, but also for, selling or future people who may inhabit your space at another time.